on. Right, so we got rid of the transcription. That's important. So I'm going to do this the normal way. I attempt assignments and spend time on assignments, and we'll have a look at that. So yeah, it's a little bit of a headachy start. I know that some people are still not on ARC, and my apologies for that. I don't control that side of things, but we are here as Vijeshna has said, and we'll try and make sure that we get as much done as possible. So to get ahead of the game, let's discuss the assignment. Let's look at where to find the answers to the assignment, and then obviously we'll spend a bit of time looking at each of the questions and what I expect from those questions. Right. So to start with, the first thing is to remember that there are 10 marks allocated for the structure, how well you've written, the kinds of resources that you've used in your assignment. So please make sure that you have an introduction. Please make sure that you have a conclusion. Absolutely essential for me, and I know it's only 5 marks out of 100, but this should be guaranteed that you get the full 5 marks. So the first one, yeah, for me, an introduction does 3 things. An introduction grabs my attention. An introduction then gives me a reason to read further, tells me essentially what we're going to do, and then gives me the journey that will follow. So initially, I will look at this part, then this part, and this part. So if you can put those 3 elements into your introduction, that would be ideal. Grab attention, and then, yeah, give me a reason to read further. So start introducing the topic, and then tell me, in the first part of the assignment, I will do this, in the second part, that, and in the third part, that. That will give you your 5 marks. Please also make sure, guys, that we keep this professional. Last year, we had endless problems, and I don't like doing this in a first lecture. That's fine, Mama Quena. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry. I don't take it seriously. In terms of AI usage, guys, yeah, the moment you copy from an AI into your assignment, it's considered academic fraud, it's considered cheating. I hate starting like this because it's negative. Please stay away from having AI generate your answers and then simply copying those over. It serves no purpose. You are here to learn, you are here to study. So please make sure that you spend time within at least the textbook and other sources that are recommended. And then please avoid AI. I'm happy for you to use AI if it's to help you find resources, but not for it to generate answers to questions. Right, so you can see the tone of the report, and also you can see the academic sources that we look at. Please attempt only to use peer-reviewed sources. For me, that's fairly important, that these are peer-reviewed sources. Now, at a third year level, I assume you know what peer-reviewed sources are. Those are the ones that you will find if you go via the library site on EBSCOhost. Those are peer-reviewed sources, and obviously when you limit your search, those are peer-reviewed sources. And then also another way of doing it, and I'm sure most of you have done it this way. I'm doing this once, I'm not doing it again. What also does help, and I just need to quickly open the assignment again. Let's just look at that. Okay. And this is not the first time they've used drip as an assignment. Yeah, okay. So before I even do that, guys, Indeed is not a peer-reviewed source. Do not use Indeed as a reference. It is not a peer-reviewed source. I don't care that it's recommended reading. Stay away from that. We should not be using that. This is not a peer-reviewed source. please stay away from it. Honestly, we need to be more professional in this. This is not a peer-reviewed source. Please stay away from that one as well. Yeah, I don't mind this one so much. Okay, drip, you can use these kind of sources when it comes to discussing the actual business. So I'm not too fussed about that. So here is the question, and it talks about the business level strategy that they adopt. Just to show you another way to do a search, for me, this works pretty well. Business level strategies, and then you type in, and you can do this for anything that you search for, scholarly articles. Generally, those would give you decent returns in terms of peer-reviewed articles. You can see what I've generated there by just doing that. Hopefully that opens for us. And you can see just by doing that, I found a significant number of articles. You can do that for any search, literally any search that you imagine. And it just makes it easier if you can't get into EBSCOhost, or if you don't know how to use EBSCOhost effectively yourself. So if we look at the first one, and I'm going to do the assignment prep as I always do, we're going to look at the business level strategy adopted by Drip Footwear. For you, you need to go to Learning Unit 1. You need to go to Learning Unit 1 in my slides, and I will make sure that I provide you with a full set of updated slides. So the business level strategies that we have are those there. Low cost strategy, where everything you do is about savings, it's about efficiencies in terms of your manufacturing process, and it's about making sure that you pass those efficiencies on to your customers. It is about making sure that your customers get the best deal possible. I'll come to best value in a second, and we'll talk about that. Differentiation strategy. Differentiation is about uniqueness. It is about stand out in terms of the crowd, stand out. So whenever we think differentiation, you would imagine from a motor vehicle perspective, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, definitely, those are all differentiation. From a motor vehicle perspective, when we think of low cost, I would imagine the entry level Renault. What is the entry level Renault called? Is it Cad? No, it's not a Kadjar. What is the entry level cheapy Renault called? Does anyone know? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's this guy, the Renault Quid. Okay, so you can see, thanks, hey, Stephanie, for that. Yeah, it's the Renault Quid. If you don't know what they look like, those are them. They look pretty decent. 154,000. I'm not even sure what a good price for an entry-level vehicle is nowadays. Does anyone drive a Renault? I suppose you would have known, you would have given me the answer. Let's just get Anushka back in here. So when we think low cost, it would be your Renault Quid, differentiation, Audi, etc. And then we get focus best value and focus cost. So in terms of focus cost, this would be an entry level vehicle that is not your 150K. Yeah, I suppose that's what they start at. Focus cost would be even cheaper than that. They would be for a small group of individuals who would be interested in that. I remember at some point Datsun was sold in South Africa. For me, that was not going to appeal to a broad market, and certainly we would consider that a focus cost, where the Renault Kwid does appeal to a far bigger market. Best value would be those kinds of products where they combine value for money with quality. So my apologies for that. So when we think of best value, you tend to think of making sure that we are as efficient as heck, that we pass those efficiencies on to our customers in terms of cost savings, but we give them significant enough bling to actually stand out from the crowd. So for me, a best value vehicle, Toyota always fits that kind of niche, definitely fits that kind of niche. In terms of focus, best value, I would imagine that it would be the slightly more upmarket Renault vehicles. We don't. What are people in the waiting room? I don't even know how to do that. Chris, where is that? Oh, shucks, sorry, I didn't see that. People, are there people in the waiting room? Oh my word. What is going on here? Okay, I don't seem to be getting through to those people. Guys, my apologies for the waiting room thing. I can't understand that. I suppose you guys aren't part of the system yet. I don't understand why this is happening. Okay, I see I'm busy calling people who aren't responding. My apologies for that. Was anyone waiting in the waiting room and couldn't get in?
I see that someone's joined on their phone now, Henny. They're still in the
Okay.
waiting room on their PC, so I'm not sure what's
I
going on.
cannot understand. You see, we weren't told that we were told this would not happen. Sorry, guys, I'm having a moment.
Go for it.
But people aren't coming in when I'm telling them to come in, you see. Okay, I can try only once more and then I'm going to give up. I'm going to have to find out why that is happening. My apologies for that. Okay, I'm going to continue. So, and then, yeah, in terms of those different vehicle options, here it would be the Renault Kwid. Here it would be the kind of Toyota vehicles that we see, the Corollas, etc. And I suppose those sort of SUV type vehicles, differentiation, yeah, BMW, Audi. Focus best value, definitely Renault, but the more upmarket Renault, they don't sell significant numbers in South Africa, at least. Focus cost, very difficult to find one, but I think back in the day, those Datsuns would have fit into that. So we can go through the same process in terms of fast food, and I'm going to need help because I'm not much of a fast food eater. What would be a low-cost fast food provider in South Africa? Who would be a low-cost fast food provider in South Africa? Who are the fast food people here? Chicken Licken. I think Chicken Licken definitely fits that bill. KFC, yeah. Pedro's definitely, Chrissy. Pedro's absolutely. Yeah, I think Pedro's fits into that. The one that, oh gosh, and I've not tried it, but I've been told that it really is good value for money, is something called the Hungry Lion. Anyone tried the Hungry Lion before? Anuska, I don't know why it keeps kicking you out. My apologies for that. I haven't at all. No Hungry Lion. Okay. Low cost. Best value we won't look at. Differentiation. What are some of the differentiated low cost, differentiated fast food providers? I think Nando's would fit into that. I think Nando's considers themselves quite differentiated. The theory around McDonald's is that they are differentiated, that they are unique. Now, these best value, yeah, I would have put KFC maybe as a best value. Fisher Steers, yeah, absolutely. And then, guys, yeah, focus cost. I can't. I'm from Pietermaritzburg, and we have a place called Karanichas here. And Karanichas, you can buy a meal for 20 Rand and they'll give you cool drinks and things like that. Okay. And then focus best value, I can't think of those. So when we look at drip footwear, you're going to find that you are going to place them somewhere between, I think they are significantly unique enough to go into a differentiation strategy. So when you answer your assignment, I would imagine you are looking at slides 26, 27, 28, 29. You can also, if you want, and I will accept both, you can also look at suggesting that they are best value. So this integrated cost leadership differentiation strategy. So if we look at the first question, then I think that one there, in terms of discussing drip footwear, in my mind, it is somewhere between differentiation. I think it is quite unique, and I know that there's a drip footwear store in at the waterfront in Cape Town. But you can also, if you want, argue that they're an integrated strategy. For me, I think it is more differentiation. So the answer there that you're looking at is Learning Unit 1. I would definitely look at slide 26 for that answer. If anyone wants, they can find it in the textbook and let me know what the textbook page numbers are. You can also look at page 27 or slide 27 in the first one. Right. So if we go then through the question, advantages and disadvantages of that strategy. If you are going to go with differentiation, advantages are on slide 28, and then disadvantages are on slide 29. So we're looking at slides 26 to 29 in terms of that first question. If you are going to argue the integrated strategy, it is there. You'll look at slides 35 to 37, and I'm going to leave it for you to argue. Just remember, though, if you do your arguing, please support it with evidence from the case study. It is essential that we have evidence, and that evidence ties in perfectly with your answer. To also just say, guys, at this level, we expect that you blend theory with application. So you want to give me some substance in terms of the theory, and then you want to make the theory come to life with specific examples from the case study. So that is the first one. And then, yeah, to do an evaluation, and we'll look at that. So you will just go a little bit further down the slides. In terms of the evaluation, the criteria that we use for evaluating strategies are those there: appropriateness, feasibility, desirability, consistency, validity, and attractiveness to stakeholders. So in terms of appropriateness, so when we look at appropriateness, it is whether the strategy that you're adopting essentially makes sense in terms of your organization, internally from a strength, weaknesses, capabilities, and obviously resources perspective, but also does it fit the kind of environment where you want to compete? And then it has to look at those key areas that this organization wants to adopt in terms of positioning itself in that particular industry. So you can see there, does it fit with what is happening in the industry, with the realities of the industry? Does it maximize what we get out of what makes the organization effective? And then also, will our stakeholders to respond? And when I talk about stakeholders, I mean the full gambit of stakeholders, right from your shareholders right to the customers. Does it resonate with customers? So in terms of appropriateness, does this strategy make sense in terms of the business as it stands, but also as it stands within the context of the external environment? Everyone okay with that one? Any questions at this stage? Okay. In terms of appropriateness, don't worry too much about discussing the SWOT matrix, etc. I'm not interested in that. It's not necessary for you to include that in your answer. The second criterion is feasibility. And here we are looking at whether the organization, based on its resources, are able to deliver on what it intends to deliver. It is about making sure that the organization doesn't overextend itself, that it doesn't push itself beyond its capabilities, beyond its resources, expose itself to risks that they shouldn't be exposing themselves to simply because they are reaching too high and they want to achieve too much. So it has to be about what do we have internally again? Is it feasible for us to give the products that we intend to give? And then what does the industry expect from us? And can it give us a long-term sustainable competitive advantage? You can see the kinds of questions that you would ask there. Desirability has to look at the results that you achieve as a consequence of adopting a particular strategy. So when we think around desirability, it is, will it give us our short-term returns in terms of profits and profitability? Will it also provide us with long-term returns from a return on investment perspective? So it really is, will this give us those kinds of results that we hope to achieve? I think anyone who has ever been in an organization's strategic planning session will know that we start with vision and we look at mission statement and we then look at our long-term objectives. But the real crunch comes when you measure whether you've achieved those cascaded objectives that you've set yourself. Right. And then consistency. Consistency is, does this strategy actually fit in with the overall vision and mission and objectives of the organization? Does it fit with its strategic intent? That kind of thing that makes the organization want to be unique. And then validity. Validity is when you look at your strategy, but you ask yourself the question, when we created the strategy to compete in this market with this particular set of goods, what were our assumptions and how accurate were our initial assumptions? So here, those assumptions are about stats and numbers, and you can argue about market size, changing needs within the market, customer expectations, etc. Those assumptions will often be the source, will be the basis of what we actually base our strategies on. The last one is this attractive to our stakeholders? Now, in terms of our stakeholders, one of the things we realize about modern business and the idea that we have this so-called crisis of ethics is that there are many ways of making money. And if we want to make quick money, and I apologize for the example that I'm about to use, but if we want to make quick money, we can go to K-Way, buy ourselves some warm jackets, some warm clothing. We can then go to Total Sports, buy ourselves some baseball bats. And then we could rent a ship that can break ice, that will take us to the southern oceans. And then we could take our warm clothes, our baseball bats, and we can go club baby seals to death. Easy money. I mean, seal fur is very popular. The real question, though, is it the right thing to do? Now, obviously, it's not the right thing to do, and I apologize for my example, but there are multiple ways of making money. There are ways that damage the environment, but again, there has to be issues around ethics and ethicality and sustainability and governance. And I think you have to make sure that your strategies are attractive to your stakeholders. And then, yeah, based on that evaluation and using those criteria, does that strategy make sense to Drip Footwear? I'm going to stop there for a second to allow you guys to ask questions. Anything from your side? Everyone okay with that? Okay, thanks, Claudine. Thanks, Aniska. Right, clearly we're moving on. Thanks, Annalene. Right, to just say, this is what we use to mark. I copy this across into the rubric, and I use this rubric to mark. Yeah, Vijeshna, you have to get to the point. I think it's about editing and brevity. Yeah, it's a tough one, but stay within the word count, guys, because the moment you go beyond, yeah, concise, the moment you, but not so concise that you're not answering the question. But the moment you go beyond the word count, people start building in and it becomes waffle and nonsense like that. But there has to be some editing. Yeah, 400 to 500 words. How much in pages is 400 to 500 words? Is it about 2 pages? I'm not even sure. Yeah. maybe 2 pages. I think you should comfortably be able to answer that in 2 pages. Now, don't go and make your font 8 and that I can't see. Font still remains 12, line spacing 1.5, please. And please include your word count. Can I also just say, as much as I'm supposed to be strict around this, I give 10% leeway. So if you add 10%, if you 50 or so words over, it's really not going to bother me. Okay. So work on a 10%. Yeah, I'll turn a blind eye to 10% extra. Please. Yeah. And just to say, guys, please look at this. The one thing about transitioning from second year to third year, in second year, we are concerned about theory. In third year, we are concerned about blending theory with application. But please note where the majority of the marks are. You should also, based on that rubric, be able to mark yourself and give yourself a mark. So please make sure that you spend a bit of time looking at that. This also is very good practice for, this is also very good practice for exams because your exam rubrics look very similar. Fewer marks for theory and significantly more marks for application. Stephanie, did you want to ask something? Okay, obviously not. Right. Yeah, the next one, corporate level strategy. Guys, yeah, I've business level strategy. I have not got to the corporate level strategy slides, but what I'll do is if you don't mind, will cherry pick the right slides and share it on the group. Are you guys okay for me to do that? So I actually will give you the slides that you can use for the second question. I will update that. Okay. Hi, Anuska. I'll make sure that I do that, guys. Okay, perfect. So in terms of corporate level strategy, just to quickly look at it, and it is my oldest slides. So in terms of the corporate level strategy, grand or master strategies, these are the strategies that take you to your long-term objectives, and obviously long-term objectives being those more specific strategic goals. And then they want us to look at the corporate level strategies. I will take out the slides or I will update them and let you have them. Corporate level strategy, I don't believe there will be significant changes. I'll just refresh the slides. The corporate level strategies that are available are those there. Okay, so if you look at slide 8 in Learning Unit 3, those are the key corporate level strategies. The corporate level strategies generally will be your growth strategies. If we think of where DRIP is in terms of the description here, it is likely that it will be one of the growth strategies. And we'll chat about it when you've had a chance to read the case study and we start talking about it on the WhatsApp group. Market penetration, or let's start with organic growth. Market penetration is about staying with existing products, but somehow through processes of advertising, trying to reach additional customers. So often market penetration has to do with unsaturated markets. Consolidation is where you're in a business and the environment externally is quite tough. The economy is quite tight. It's a bit of a hold and maintain. So what you do in terms of your consolidation is you make sure that you keep your existing customers. So again, it's through communication, reminding them that, we are still here. Remember how good the quality of the products are that you've got from us. And remember, when you want to replace, please come back to us. It stays with having your same products, but this to me is a hold and maintain strategy. This one here is where there is an unsaturated market and you try and reach those customers that have not adopted, a particular brand to support. Market development is where you take your existing product and you move it into new markets. I mean, silly examples, and we'll chat about these examples again, but we know that Southern Sun Hotel, South Africa, has gone into the Middle East. We know that Netcare has gone into the Middle East. I mean, obviously, one of our more famous exports is Nando's. Nando's started in Joburg, went South Africa wide, and now is in the UK as well. So where you go and find new markets for existing products. In terms of product development is where you keep updating and refreshing your products. And I see that in this textbook they've taken out innovation, which is good. So product development would be where you have an iPhone 14 and somebody goes and launches an iPhone 15. Product development is where you add additional features to a vehicle into a motor vehicle, for example, to extend its shelf life. Diversification. Now, there are two forms of diversification. Related diversification means that you stay with your core technologies. So, for example, KTM, the motorcycle manufacturer, have their crossbow, which is, and I'm trying to not rush because I want to finish. Hold on, I've got a bit of time. So it is KTM, the motor, and I know they're in trouble, and we know that one of our boys race for them. KTM. Please don't tell me that I've got this wrong. Okay, it's that guy there. So what KTM did is they had a pretty good recipe for success, and they used current technologies and built a motor vehicle. Volkswagen, a good few years ago, introduced their Amarok and introduced a Bucky. Mercedes attempted to introduce a Bucky. It failed dismally and it disappeared very quickly. Hyundai, for example, known for SUVs and vehicles. I see that Hyundai's double cab 4x4 Bucky has landed in South Africa. So the difference between your related and unrelated diversification. Related, we stay within our core technology. Unrelated diversification is where we move away from our core technology. So we see that in highly diversified organizations. So if we take Virgin, for example, now we know that Virgin started off as obviously a student magazine, and then we had the record store, etc. But if we look at the Virgin Group, I'm hoping that it will give us the full set of its subsidiaries. Okay, now it's telling us, apologies. Okay, so to just show you a company that is really good at unrelated diversification. I did not know that there was something called Virgin Wines. Did anyone here know of Virgin Wines? That's brand new to me, to be honest with you. What is Virgin Red? Anyone know what Virgin Red is? I've no cooking clue. Yeah, but if you think of Virgin, I mean, they're a highly diversified organization. Virgin Hotels. So whenever you move away from your core technology, it is unrelated diversification. This is a company that does it incredibly well. Virgin Galactic taking you to outer space. and Virgin Money and more. Another company, and a lot of people are surprised by this, is Tata Holdings, also a heck of a diversified company. So if we look at Tata, hopefully we can find the different brands. Not sure that we will. Hold on. Let me just go down to the bottom. So here are their different businesses: technology, steel, automotive, customer, and. So again, a highly diversified company. They all also own tea farms. They own heavy steel works. At some point, they ran the official airline for India. When you move away from your core technology, you have unrelated diversification. Does that make sense? Okay. So Edcon started off selling clothes and then gave us cell phones and home loans and credit cards, unrelated. Okay. You're going to find that in all likelihood, you are in that area there. I'm hoping you can see the cursor when you are looking at drip. Okay, so the answer there in Learning Unit 3, yeah, it will be Learning Unit 3, slide 11, 12, slide 11. Stay with slide 11, guys. It is in all likelihood going to be slide 11. If they introduce T-shirts, then it becomes, you can argue, related diversification. If they start offering cell phone contracts, then it's unrelated diversification. Just to go back to the assignment. Right, so advantages and disadvantages. The one thing that is not in the textbook, guys, are the advantages and disadvantages. You're going to have to do a bit of a search there. You're going to have to look at other sources, please. And then an alternative. I would talk about market development and I would use product development as our alternative. You can use anything as long as you can argue with evidence your answers, okay? Again, you can see here 20 and 20. So here they've given us a little bit more recognition for the theory that we use, and then application also 20 marks. And then the last one, okay, 5 strategic triggers, and then yeah, that will be learning unit. Yo, hold on a second. Okay, so it's learning unit 2. I have updated that. Yeah, you see, and this is why I kept these slides, and my apologies for that, guys. This is not in the textbook, but I saw that that they had that question, and I just kept the old slides from the old textbook in here. Okay, there they are. Okay, the 5 strategic triggers. So yes, it's what I shared is messy, and I shouldn't have shared it, but I did see that it's not in the new textbook. This is from the old textbook, the previous edition. So you'll see it. It looks a bit dodge on your load there. Gosh, it looks like that. And I know that it's a bit messy, and my apologies, but it's that mess that you see there, that unnamed thing, and I can't remember which slide it was. And it is slide, whatever this is, slide 25. So yeah, there it is. I've kept that in because you, just as an aside, I don't know. I think they might not have had this new textbook when they did the assignment. So those are the 5 triggers there. Yeah, let me have a glance at that. And there are the marks. It's only 10 marks, but 10 marks is a lot. Okay. And then, yeah, summary there. My suggestion is get going as soon as possible. Now that I am on ARC, I will upload, I'll update all the slides, and it will be a little bit more organized. But yeah, I think we'll be on track. Any questions in terms of the assignment at this stage? Okay, everyone fine with that? Okay, right, Vijeshna, that's absolutely fine. Guys, my suggestion is start sooner than later. So yeah, this recording takes a moment to save. I will share the recordings once I've posted them on YouTube. I have got a YouTube channel. If you want to start looking, no, I won't share the YouTube channel yet because I have got older videos from last year on there as well, but we'll obviously put brand new videos all the time. Okay. If there are no questions, I'm going to stop the recording, guys, and then start with the first lecture, if everyone is okay with that. Just give it a second to save, and then we'll start again.